All right. Thanks so much, Jana, for coming on this call to talk about your experience of working with us at Unleash the Knowledge with your book. I'm not going to say the whole title because I don't know what YouTube's rules are, but it's Unf Your Mind. But I'd love to kick things off, just kind of for those watching this, like learn a little bit about you and your journey and exactly kind of why you got this book out into the world.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And I've just really enjoyed working with you, Owen. You have went above and beyond. And my book it's like birthing another child. And so you're very careful with whose hands you get it into that's going to help promote it, right? And you did absolutely an amazing job.
I appreciate that. So you launched the book in January of 2024, to my understanding, if I can remember. It's November right now. So you're not even a year out from the book, which is always exciting because I'm sure you see the book as something that could live on for a long time. But what exactly was like your game plan going into launching the book, getting it out into people's hands far before we kind of got in touch?
Absolutely. Yeah, my book came out January 11th. I liked the 111 and the meaning there.
Yeah.
And, this was my first book, first of many. And so, as a first time author, you're not really sure what to do. So, you just kind of follow your publisher's, input and guidelines there. And, thankfully, through friends and family and just social networking, we were able to get my book out and number one bestseller in multiple categories, and that happened twice over 6 months. And I have paperback, hardback, ebook, and honestly, just promoting the heck out of it
Mhm.
to anyone that I could, making sure that I used my newsletters, social media, and the people that I was close with, anytime that they would share it for me, even if it was in their stories, every little bit helps. And I think that how you do it, those weeks leading up to the release date, is everything because timing is absolutely impeccable. And so for me, if I would have had you beforehand, that would have been absolutely amazing. I did not. So it took a lot of patience, a lot of a lot of just doing the same things over and over,
Mhm.
feeling like you're annoying people, right? But you want to get your book out there and you want to give it the delivery that you know that it deserves.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I mean, to ask people for requests or reviews or to share the book is definitely could be a little taxing at times. And then kind of where we've been able to come in with you and then others is it's coming from like a third party or it's coming from another trusted source to speak on behalf of you. So what can you kind of talk about on terms of like results that we were able to deliver your way or kind of anything of what you enjoyed about our process of promoting your book?
Absolutely. So, I've never worked with anyone like you before that's a book promoter. And so, as again, first time author and first time working with a book promoter, there's always that little bit of like, are they really going to do what they're saying that they're going to do?
Yeah.
Because it just, it sounds really good and too good to be true. And you not only delivered, I think you over delivered in the sense of like every single thing that you put out there about my book. The post would come out and I would read it and I would just be like, man, I would tell my husband and be like, he really read my book. He really took good notes. And that was very clear because you would not have been able to write the captions you wrote or share the things that you shared without have reading my book and taking really good notes. And so I have been nothing but impressed and I will work with you time and time again.
Awesome. I love that. I appreciate that. Now, I think that's a good point though, because a lot of authors do get exposed to people that could help them market their books and do a lot of other things. I mean, what has kind of been, what kind of led you to working with us, I guess, ultimately? Like, I mean, I'm sure you're getting hit with other people requesting your time and energy and resources. What would you say kind of, I mean, because we didn't interestingly get connected, I don't think, through a mutual friend, which is usually kind of how things go about, and that helps. But we
Yeah.
got connected just through, I think, the world of Instagram. So what
Yeah.
kind of led you to pulling the trigger with us?
Yeah, and this was, let's see, my book came out January 11th. I think you and I first had a conversation in maybe May. something like that.
Yeah.
And there was, I'm not really sure. I think you had found me somehow, and I think there was a mutual connection. And that mutual connection, who's someone I'm very close with, um, is what I think gave that enough trust factor for me, right?
Hmm.
Because my book had already, and this is important for people to know, if your book is about to come out, 100% work with Owen. If it's already out, 100% work with Owen. But my book had already reached #1 bestseller. So in my eyes, it's kind of like, you know, what is he going to do for me now?
Hmm.
And to think that nothing else could have been done better than it already has been, you 100% um, did that. And I didn't think my book could do any better, and you made it do better across the line. And, just I think the amount of eyes that got on it and cells and everything. And so, and then of course after that, when you started to promote my book, then I started to get DMs from all sorts of book
Yeah,
promoters. And
that'll
I
happen.
think it's important for people to look at not just the person's following. Some of these people had hundreds of thousands of followers that sent me DMs to promote my book. But I also looked at their engagement, right? How many books that they promoted, who are the authors,
Mm.
um, what kind of traction it's getting. And that's really important to note. And so I was very, very careful with that. And you by far have really outdone anyone else.
Mm. Awesome. So good to hear. Yeah, there's due diligence I think needs to be done for anything really, but like even with your book, because it is your message, it's your story. I mean, you in particular, you share your vulnerable story through the whole journey in the book. So for any Joe Schmo to maybe be sharing that is something obviously you want to vet out and be mindful of.
Absolutely, 100%. Because, you know, what you put out there, if that's somebody's first time seeing my book and hearing about me,
Yeah.
right? It's not in my voice. It's not in my words. It's yours. And so, you don't send out a caption for approval, right? It's just like, oh shit, he's tagged me in something. I better go see what it is. If you don't like it, you don't like it, right? That was never the case with you. And that's really important for authors to know is to do the due diligence, see how they write about other people's books.
Hmm.
Do they do similar books? Are they doing a bunch of fiction and yours is nonfiction? Just
Right.
do your homework.
Yeah. Well, you kind of alluded to this before or even stated some things like over delivering, but did anything like uniquely surprise you about working with us?
I think what uniquely surprised me is the consistency in quality.
Hmm.
You always expect that first post, right? It's kind of like the beginning of any relationship, right? It's like, oh, it's so great in the beginning, and then you just kind of get settled in, and it's like, well, they're good over here. I'm going to put my attention over there because I got some new people, and that's not at all how it was. You gave the same amount of attention and quality to everything you shared about my book from the first to the 10th.
Hmm.
And that was impressive to me because um, I have a lot of respect for that. And it just shows that you really, really care about the authors that you work with. And it also shows that you care about what you provide as your service.
Hmm. Yeah, that's something we really try to focus on. I mean, granted, our campaigns are 30 to 60 days, so there's a lot of content that gets played into that. So
Yeah.
we want to maintain that consistent, high effort or high quality work among it all. It's not just like one post going out and then that's kind of it. But awesome. One kind of last question just about our relationship and us working together, and then just a couple other parting questions about authors in general. But if someone's on the fence here listening to this, they got a new nonfiction book, what would you tell them? In general, maybe on what to do, but specifically if we're even someone that they should consider working with.
Yeah. Well, would this be for someone whose book is already out or is about to come out or both?
I would say both. Yeah, because I
Okay.
think the book truly can live on. And I think you have that mindset as well. Like, despite a year being by or 2 years, like the book,
Yep.
as long as you want to push it, it could still live on.
100%. And to what you just said, if your book has already come out, whether whether it got the kind of attention you wanted to or not. You put a lot of time and work, blood, sweat, and tears into that book. I know what I put into my work and the long hours and the not a lot of sleep sometimes. And so why not give it all of that and then some, right? You need to make sure that you give that book all of its attention, because as long as you're doing that, that book's going to keep being put out there. It's going to keep getting in front of more eyes, and you never know whose eyes it's going to get in front of, right? And if your book hasn't come out yet, I think it's really, really important to work with someone like Owen, because Owen Owen really puts it out there in different platforms, the stories, the posts, and then it's always there, right? And
Yeah.
everything is searchable these days. And you know, another thing is just to make sure that you are 100% happy with your book before you put it out there,
Yeah.
right? Because once it's out there, you can't change it. And I think that's really important to know. And you know, just promote the heck out of it. I mean, that is your work, right? That is your book. And you want to make sure it gets the delivery and attention it deserves.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, book is so interesting among like anything else. Like if you shoot a video, you could take it down or you can maybe edit it and then repost it. But like a book, it's like once it's out, it's out. And I'm sure there's still this mindset of like it's not always going to be picture perfect. Like I'm sure there's still something maybe you were to go back to your book and be like, oh, maybe I would have said this or even tweaked this. Maybe not you, but I know other people have
Yeah.
said that. So you just got to like get it to like 90% completion or what you love it to be and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I know an author where I was absolutely surprised that she actually had her mom do some proofreading for her. And I was like, what? Oh my gosh, I about lost my breath. Um, you know, there's a few typos in my book, and my OCD kicked in, but then I was like, you know what though? There's nothing I would go back and change about the quality of my book.
Yeah.
There's nothing I feel that ooh, maybe I shouldn't put that out there, because you know, I put it all out there.
Yeah.
And um, I don't have any regrets on that. And I think that that's the area. Like there might be some typos. Who cares? Make sure that that quality is up to your standards and that you're going to be okay with it. It's like Owen said, when it's out there, it's out there. You can't take it off the shelf.
Yeah. So I know we got you also like a couple of reviews on Amazon, which we know how important that is among
Yeah.
the social posts. What can
Mhm.
you kind of just speak to on authors and like the importance of reviews, how you felt
Uh,
towards them, how you've
yeah.
continued to try to get them? Love to hear that.
Yeah, reviews are everything. In fact, it was the influx of the reviews from you that got it up to #1 bestseller again. You know, 5, 6 months later.
Hmm.
And reviews are everything. People want to focus on the sales. Well, that's important, but I think that another thing I would really like to share is that you need to make sure your book is of service to others. If you're doing it all about the sales and what it's going to get, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Make sure that the message that you're trying to get across is what you want it to be, and you're being of service to others. And that's the place I came from. And I think that's why my book had the success that it had. And I also knew from my publisher, reviews were everything. And that was one of the things that was appealing too, is that, you know, in the services you offer and the different packages were the reviews.
Yeah.
Those reviews are everything. To have a verified review. And, you know, I'm up to quite a few reviews now, and they're pretty good. And I couldn't be happier with that, because as an author, when you go and you read people's reviews and you hear the impact that your book had on them, um, I mean, that right there is just warms your heart up. And
Hmm.
there's nothing that can describe that feeling.
Yeah, I think that's a big point about like the verified reviews too, because to call it out, like there's definitely people that gamify that part of the game with reviews. And with us, like we're having people actually buy them and then leave the reviews. We're not like writing the reviews for them, which would be super unethical. So
Yeah,
for those like listening, like you want reviews, yes, like that's definitely the game plan, but you could definitely be exposed to like, I don't know, folks from another country just writing a bunch of random reviews who didn't even read your book. So you want to find people that could actually buy the book because then you get that little stamp of approval in Amazon's eyes,
yes.
but then also actually share something that's real that they wrote themselves because they obviously consumed your book.
100%. And to what you said, make sure they buy the book, right?
Yeah.
Because they, whether that's with a Goodreads, Amazon, doesn't matter. Make sure they buy the book because, um, I wouldn't want to read a fake review. That's just doing it for the wrong reasons. I mean, just the thought of that, if someone wrote me a fake review would just, it wouldn't set well with me because that's not at all what my book is about. And, my book is about authenticity and being real and honest and finding your power. And the last thing I would ever want is anything fake on it. And so make sure that you do your work. And if you use someone like Owen, the quality is par none. He's going to deliver. You're going to be more than happy, and your book deserves that, and you deserve that. You put a lot of work and effort into it.
So good. That's a great way to end this. That was awesome last liner. Janet, thanks again for teaming up and I appreciate all these kind words.
Absolutely, Owen. Have a good one.
You too.